Hello and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer. This is not my house. This is not my house.
It's okay, Grandma. Your drapes, we're so used to it.
Oh my God.
Chic c'est la vie, yes.
Okay.
Well, this and that. We are going to be discussing everything going on in the figure skating world this week. So if you are new here, please subscribe below, smash that like button, give us love. Jonathan's doing this on location. Jonathan, this is not how I'd like to imagine you.
I know it's not how I like to imagine myself. When I'm still at Chautauqua teaching, and I was doing it from my studio before, which is nice. The piano's there. I could set up the computer, and now I'm like in yellow and blue country nightmare. And then now it looks like I have a black eye if the lamp is in front of me. But we're doing our best because there was finally some like fun, exciting skating to watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did think of you because my fancy friends that are renovating this house that they bought, they decided, we're gonna have to move the grand piano, but if we make it a player piano, they'll move it for us. It's just so what they do is, Jonathan, when they're having their cocktails at night, they sit there and they let the player piano play Dvorak, Rachmaninoff. And they sit there with their cocktails and just entertain as it goes, and it like plays the other instruments over recording.
Oh yes, it's a disclaimer. I know exactly what it is. We did not have one growing up. And then you like have like the dinner party in the next room and you put on like the holiday cocktail mix. Yeah.
These are your kind of people, John.
Yeah,
okay.
For sure. We like live entertainment, but notice they're not paying performers. So better to hire a pianist for your cocktail hour.
Well, they bring in, one of them runs music at a university with the church because it's a Jesuit university. He does all sorts of performances, brings in and hires musicians. So
okay, that's great. That's all.
It's just your personal home, but maybe
computer's taking my job. Yeah, okay.
I will tell them Jonathan says you're not being fancy enough. He wants you to hire performers for the part. Oh,
yeah.
Excuse me. The one is already like, yes. For the holidays, I'm going to have a large banquet table and it's going to be this. And yes. Okay.
Sounds great. Yeah.
These are those kinds of gays, Jonathan. You know it.
Yeah, we like those. Yeah. Story is the girl is me. Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm the down to earth one in the group.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I think about you often. Yeah. Super down to earth Dave. Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of down to earth, Eteri has spoken.
She has indeed.
And it was about as good as the last time that she spoke. I have to say, it was another lesson in NPD. Before about a year and a half ago, I didn't know a lot about NPD.
I don't know what that means.
Narcissistic personality disorder. And
I see.
So now we're having a lesson in gaslighting. And I was wondering if you could please read Eteri's statement to us.
Yes, happy to do so. This is from the Instagram page of a one Eteri Tutberidze. World Championships, Grand Prix stage distribution, rating update, etc. This is all very, very upsetting. I understand a lot, but I do not accept the exclusion of our athletes, children, from international competitions. Of course, it is easier to share medals and be happy for the little ones, but where are the basic principles? Fair play? Or how did they explain to us that this is caring for our athletes? I think that ratings should not be updated and give our titles in our absence. It's absurd. I know that it is sport that erases borders and unites all athletes of the world. I believe this is a terrible mistake of the group of people in power that make decisions. Help God, everyone, to get out of this situation. And here's the photo.
Do you know what's another hallmark of a narcissist, Jonathan?
Tell me.
The victim bully complex.
Yeah. The point of not being in the competition is that it is a consequence. So that would include the world rating. Yeah.
And Trusova thinks they shouldn't she agrees with Eteri. In this,
of course,
mutually beneficial friendship that they have going on now.
Today,
Today, yes. Trusova is behind Eteri 100%.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
She thinks,
freeze the world ratings. Nothing counts. Yeah.
freeze the world rankings. Don't give titles. It's okay.
Yeah.
They're
She's
very
all basic.
fine with they're fine with being excluded, as they let us know every day in the Russian press. Only the competitions mean nothing without us, and we are going to have our own competitions. We'll have our own Olympics. It's fine. Okay.
It's fine. Yeah.
It's fine. How fine is it, Jonathan? It's fine. Okay.
It is so fine. And you know what? Maybe they can have each event at a major holiday. Since we already associate nationals with Christmas, I think they should just take out the calendar and just give us one for every major holiday.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
Especially Kwanzaa, the favorite holiday of all Russians that I know.
That's right. Yes, exactly.
They're a very accepting bunch. When I think of Russians, I think of multicultural acceptance. They love
just
diversity.
Open channels. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh man.
Meanwhile.
Meanwhile, in Japan. Yes. Okay. Jonathan, some of these ice shows, they're harder to watch in Japan, but they're finally like allowing paid streams for some of these. And we're starting to actually see the new programs, which is exciting when we get to this part of the season.
Agreed.
I don't know about you, but the early side of the seasons, the exhibitions aren't like what they were in the 90s, right? People don't spend any time on their exhibition programs, even less time than they did back then. I don't find it usually that enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
We get to the part where we see the new programs under spotlights. I am hooked in.
Yeah.
I am ready. Okay.
Yeah. And even some people that were both offering new programs and exhibitions, I skipped over the exhibitions, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Because I was most eager to sort of see the new material.
But I do hope that you saw one exhibition, because for a long time, people were saying, I'm so sad Sachiko retired. And I said, no, don't be sad. We will never have to watch her do toe jumps again and fake it, okay? And let me tell you, Jonathan, her going out there, is getting to Stabat Mater. How do you pronounce it, Jonathan?
Stabat Mater, yeah, it's Latin.
Okay.
Yeah, you're Catholic, you got it.
Jonathan, in this long, flowy dress, under spotlights, gorgeous choreography, only double axels and split jumps. I mean,
unencumbered by the rest. We don't need the rest.
She didn't want to do any toe jumps, and we didn't want to see them, okay?
Right.
This was better than any performance we had to watch her give, okay?
Yeah.
It was so classy. It was like when Anenko and Stratensky came out on Stars on Ice, and you're like, I'm not classy enough for this, all right? It was so highbrow in the best of ways, okay?
These will be her finest years, I think, of artistic output. 100%. Yeah.
Yes.
She's sensational.
She should have retired years ago. Why didn't she retire 4 years ago? Okay. I mean, I'm in love.
Because what they need, and we'll talk about it later, is a solo dance competition.
Yes.
That's what she needed. So
she could have been a solo dancer. That's right. I mean, she was so stunning. I was just mesmerized by that performance. Just the edges, the shapes, the dress like flowed and just created a mood and a moment. I was so in love. It was stunning. It was just like the wave coming over you, Satsuko. I don't know how else to describe what was happening on the
It was a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
The only other pure skating like that happened in some form was Marin.
What?
Every time I see Marin skate, I'm like, I think she has one of the most like raw talents, just her just sheer stroking, her sheer presence. Yeah, it's still, every time I see it, even under the duress of this program, it was still just lovely to see all the skating skills.
Are you telling me you didn't like Shoma?
No, of course I did. Of course I did. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think of his new program?
So
air
on a G-string.
Is it on a G-string or the G-string? Is it a G-string?
Oh, it would depend, because it wouldn't be in English, obviously, the title. So it could probably be translated as either, because you're playing it on the/a G-string. So whatever.
Because when you go to search, it can come up both ways when you do that.
Yeah, because it's going to be a translation from the German, and I think it would go. It's like when you try to transliterate Rachmaninoff, do you do the V, do you do the two Fs? Similar situation. This program was, I would say, 100% expected.
Yes, but
and 100% appreciated by me. It gave us more of the same, which I kind of want from him, if I'm being honest.
It reminded me of his Moonlight Sonata.
Mm-hmm.
It had beautiful movements and shapes. Yeah. And he's working with Kenji Miyamoto. I thought the costume was gorgeous, but expected. We've seen him do classical in gray before.
What I don't know at these shows, Dave, is if the costumes are ready yet, because we've often seen some might change later. So maybe that's their plan, but I agree with you.
When I met with Matthew in person for fitting, he had told me that he made 4 different costumes for Shoma, were like different colors, and they just picked them. And I think he'd only met him once or something. They just did everything virtually by measurements. I mean, Shoma has gorgeous Matthew Caron costumes, like I mean, the best. And it's interesting. I'm a big costume snob, Jonathan, and I do think that Shoma's costumes still look current and forward, whereas when we get to Glacier, there's a look with the Colorado girls, it's starting to look really dated. Like what was popular 5 years ago is now all over the Broadmoor World Arena, and it's getting too glitzy and cringy in a. It's reminding me. Everyone used Lauren Sheehan, and you'd see like the Shelby Lyons and Sydney Vogel versions, which were not as nice as the Nicole Bobeck versions, right? Like Nicole got the best, and everyone else was. Ooh.
But remember, even Lauren knew she was getting out of touch when she saw Michelle's costumes.
Yes.
That year, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm the dated pageant looking one," and that's.
She thought that they looked like frosted cakes, is what she said.
I mean, she's not wrong. Yeah. The dresses are looking like that, especially in the women's event, but we'll digress. It's a very American aesthetic happening, the Claire Seos of the world, and it's anyway. I thought that Shoma skated like a world champion. To me, if clean, I would find it very difficult for someone to beat him because of the quality he had of the overall movement. I know that when people land the jumps, their reputation will improve throughout the season, and that it will be, things will shift. And Shoma makes mistakes and has jump landings that, right? However, just looking at his overall movement, his overall sophistication, he's light years ahead of the field. Expected or not, he's getting that. He's in line for another world title, a season of victories to really cement himself, whether he wants to last 4 years or this have to be his sunset season or whatever. I think he's in good stead to win again. And the material gives the judges easy permission to give him everything.
Yeah.
I do believe he is capable of innovative and modern and other things, but he's giving everyone what they want.
I wonder, with him being world champion, sometimes when you win, you start to shift, right? You don't want to take the risks anymore. You pull back, right? I mean, he is in the driver's seat. If he does what he does, he should win. Based on this, he looks in phenomenal shape. He looks more serious, more trained than we've ever seen him. And maybe with Nathan and Yuzu out of the field, he really feels this is his time. He looked supremely confident out there.
Yeah.
He was skating like a world champion. There was just another level of gravitas in the way he moved and ownership over the ice. I really thought he just nailed it. He absolutely showed up and did what he needs to do. He got an A. There's just no way.
100%.
He just did it, and I think that is everyone else is climbing, right? The other men in the field. So
I agree.
Yeah. Well, what did you think of Ilya Malinin? Because he showed a version of his free here. He's someone who's interesting to me because he skates in this style that seems very influenced by Nathan Chen, and Gogolev has it too. I think one of the things with Nathan is that he really kind of has this like ho-hum, more relaxed skating style, very straight boy, not going for the beautiful extension, maybe not the skating that we are used to. What do you make of it in this?
Yeah, it's sort of somehow reminds you of a track and field competition in the way that it's just sort of like hang and waiting to see the big element. I mean, it was interesting to see him also in this lineup. I think that doing all of this as opposed to a lot of his domestic competitors is going to bring him forward leaps and bounds by just doing this much performing. Even if the material may not be my first choice, and they're clearly following a pattern with it, I think just the performative quality of him is there. There's a showmanship to him. And I think just the more he does it, we'll see more personality on the ice in that way. But yeah, I think, it will be easy to slam him on PCS if they choose to do so. I don't know that they'll choose to do so.
He's a little bit, Galina used to call it like a Pinocchio skater, and he's got really, really long legs, right? So unless they are super bent, it's always going to look like he's slightly stiffer than someone who has shorter legs. He can't really change that. His dad has legs just like him. It's just the look of the ice. So he really has to work on the ankle and knee bend always with his skating skills. That's just how he's built. Now.
And then for me, there's also like a shoulder thing. But I think that's a part of this style that Nathan was always up in the shoulders in the moves, and Gogolev was this weekend as well, but also he gets that a little bit sometimes.
Now Nathan really would emphasize it and move kind of, but Nathan has incredible swagger. However, when Nathan was coming up, there was a period of time when he was very young, he performed like crazy. When he went through those mid-teen years, Nathan's performance style became blanker. And then when he really needed to win and have performance quality, they brought it out of him again. And it's very common that this happens with boys, especially boys in skating. They reach those 15, 16, and 14, they don't want to show off and be showy and do those sorts of things. But if they stick with it, they have to win. And I think we saw with Nathan with doing all of the shows in Japan, it really did help bring it out of him. And we saw each season the choreographers brought it out of him. And then he developed a style that he became beloved for. Early on, when he was first a senior, especially go back 2015, 2016, he did not have the performance. In 2017, they had him wear that jacket, and the jacket made an illusion, and that kind of brought out more performance than was perhaps there. And then each season they were really pushing it and emphasizing and bringing it out of him. So I think Ilya is going to be on that same path. He has a different personality, but there's personality in him. You could just tell on his Instagram lives, and it came out at times in this program. I think they really need to focus on that, because that is what they are going to nail him for. And if he has any mistakes, it's going to be
easy to tank him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that he's doing all of these shows, because that will be the knock against him.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is what it is. People are going to yell at us for it, but that's going to be
on the main stage. Yeah, we're not talking domestically, and we're not talking about technical content. If he's going to run with Shoma, on these same podiums. Yeah,
I mean, it's a tough. The men's field is quite deep, and there are many players I think that are going to be in there. We saw. I mean, you have to think. You've got Shoma. You have Yuma. You have Kazuki. You have Shun Sato, Kevin Amos, Junhwa Cha. I mean, it's a deep field, even without Koyeda, without Yuzu, without Nathan. It's going to be very difficult. So,
agreed.
Yeah. What did you make of Daniel Grossel? So Daniel Grossel was a Benoit Richaud skater for many years, and like Cowrie, has moved away from Benoit. At least
to Jason Brown. Did I get that correct?
Yes, you did.
Okay. I was like, are they collaborating? Like, are they?
Do you ever have this where you're watching a program and you know it's a new choreographer, and you're like seeing different things, but then you're judging yourself, or like, am I wanting to see new things, or am I seeing improvements, or is this here? I believe that I saw a real attempt at style, and I think some of it was Jason's choreography here, but I saw big attempts to have a better style here than we are accustomed to from him.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, I think Daniel always knew, obviously, that he needed help in this area. So he's always tried, like, I understood the rationale behind trying Benoit, and he always seemed committed to trying the steps, but now that he's trying these steps, it seems to be more successful. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think he was really trying to commit to some of those programs. Yeah. But now that the material is a little different, I think it's helping. But unfortunately, you know, you could just envision Jason showing him those moves, and then you're like, oh yeah, I bet that's really cool when Jason did it. But again, I see the effort. It's clear that they know. And quite frankly, his material seemed more current to me than, for instance, Matteo Rizzo's.
Yes.
So, I mean, I do think he's going to be safely the top Italian man again.
You know, Daniel has flexibility. I think they need to work on extension a little bit, especially in his camel and in some of his positions. But it seems like there's more potential there than was there before. The one thing I don't know if they can change is the head.
I think that's set. Yeah.
Which is, I wish they could fix that. That's the one thing that, like, when he jump, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, it's all you see now. Yeah. Pez head.
He actually seems like someone that people will get behind. He seems to have a good personality. He seems to really like to skate. I really respect that he's trying new choreographers and moving away from this Benoit era. I wonder if the Benoit era had its moment. You know, everything has its moment in skating, and it seems.
Well, it was especially interesting when it was unlike everyone else, and now that everyone's sort of doing it or a version of it, it has sort of lost the novelty.
But it was all the skaters who weren't aesthetically gifted, right? Who were considered boring, or
which I do consider unfair to Benoit. Do you know what I mean? Because we've really only seen the majority of his work with people that have limitations in that area, which just seems to be why they go that route.
Go watch his ice camp video. His edge class, not the edge class of like a Natalia Dubova. Okay, I'm just saying. There's just the posture is not the thing. We did a whole like side by side on TSL Live about it. We watched his, and then we watched some of the old Dubova where she said how your posture should be, and there was just nothing about that.
Okay.
Watch his own self-produced camp. He was kind of nasty to the skaters in it. It was
in the footage that he chose.
Yes,
okay.
And they were doing exercises that looked way too difficult for them. So,
okay.
But a lot of great branding. You know, they all had props that they were using, and it was bullshit the best way. As everything is a brand in skating now. There is no one who coaches with another coach who doesn't have an Instagram page that they are redefining skating. You know, they're all about the total skater, Jonathan. Everyone is about the whole package. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it's about the
athlete first.
Athlete first, inside out.
Okay.
Usually the coaches that yell the most. Anyway, I digress. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that tracks. That tracks. Yeah.
Like when a coach has like a page on there, I'm like, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always athlete first, though. Yes, always.
Of course, I sense that. Yeah.
Yes, I do sense that. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is why the coaches marketing themselves and using the scale.
Why it's about the teaching and not the learning. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Cool.
you know, it's a room full of self-awareness in skating, right? It's great. Yeah, but Mr. Grosso. But speaking of the Benoit Muse, who has broken free, is Kaori Sakamoto, Jonathan. And what did I tell you about Kaori for years?
Look at the bottom half for the skating skills. Again, that changed my entire perception.
He had no posture, right? It was always
well, yeah.
Do you know what is besides the haircut, do you know the biggest thing that has changed?
Well, she opens her shoulders back now in the beginning. Yeah.
And they emphasize it. Marie-France and Roheen both created moves where they are like, we are not letting you skate like this anymore. They purposely do this. They created this twizzle moment where she has to go like this. The one thing is she's still looking down sometimes, but there is a real emphasis being put on her performance and her posture. And I really liked the free skate to Elastic Heart. I mean, it's not as finished and complete and refined as what we saw last season, but I think you see where they're going with her. And, you know, Shoma did kind of the expected route. She won, and they're trying to improve her. And I think that Roheen and Marie-France are both bringing something out of her.
Yeah, it was clear that this up and open was sort of the biggest change. And like you said, they did it in both programs. It's clear that they both see the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
like,
yeah.
I thought it brought out more joy in her skating, actually. And it allowed me to appreciate her more.
What opens this part, which is to me the emotive part I often connect with a skater through.
Yeah.
So when it's so closed off, there's inevitably a veneer that comes up between me and the performance.
Yeah. There's some like holding from her core that I think she can improve. Sometimes she kind of lets the free leg kind of flop a little bit rather than like that. But that's never been something that they worked on with her before, that positioning. She has more potential. This was such a step forward for her, even though there are times that she almost jumped into the audience. Like you talk about.
I know, and because I was thinking, it does look like a slightly smaller arena, and those barriers are nothing. They're like name tags. It's like they're these like little paper triangles. I was like, this is, and the front row was right there.
She almost did a triple flip double toe into the front row. And if she jumped into me, I would be thrilled. Okay. I would be mad. Okay.
As long as she came shoulders open.
Shoulders open. It's fine. Break my nose. I'll get a nose job. It's fine. Okay.
I'm here for the story. Yeah.
It'll be the excuse I always wanted. Okay. Oh my God. I would have. Yeah. She really looks great. I think that the other thing is she's not peaking too early. I'm kind of wondering if she's going to be a late bloomer this season. It's like she's putting it in after the Olympic season. She looks relaxed. She cut her hair. She's not as consistent with all of the jumps just yet. But
the speed is there. The height is there. It's all right there. It just, to me, it looks where it should look.
When she debuted the Roheen short in the last round of shows, I forget which, you know, all the Japanese shows have different names. Friends on Ice, The Ice, this, that. I mean, I can't.
Fantasy on Ice, isn't that one?
Fantasy, I'm whatever. I don't know. It's called Making Money in Japan. You know, it's dark and there are spotlights and there's good skating. Okay. And videos that get blocked on YouTube. That's pretty much what we do.
Exactly.
Japanese shows, right? Okay. It looked like she had just learned the Roheen number and was like, when you first do a new skating program and you don't know where to breathe, you kind of like trip over yourself and you are like freaked out. She was missing the spins. I mean, it looked like Roheen had just finished that program and she went out and did it 2 minutes later. I mean, it looked really
stumble through.
Yeah. It looks so much better than it did then, with just a little more mileage of practice behind it. So I don't know.
I think there's room for improvement in that. I think she will become more confident in it. Just a couple of moments. She was just a little bit in and out, to me, understandably so. I would imagine his stuff is very complex and detail oriented. So I was getting like half of the sell. And I think as it gets more mileage, she'll be able to sell it more.
I was wondering if the Janet song is actually, the idea is to move her forward and current and hip and to really bring her forward in skating. I'm wondering if it's almost too much, but I think we're going to have to wait and see a month from now, 2 months from now, how that program is. I respect that it's different, and I think that it's worth the effort to improve her, because if she gets to a certain level with performance where she has this confidence and this, she already has the joy, but if you have her just have a little more edge and just a little bit like a freshness to her, it's going to be very, very difficult to beat her. Who do you see as the main rival this season?
Well, it's hard to say because we've yet to see. I think the material that the Korean skaters will come up with could be a big factor in that, but that's about it. Although I'm going to tell you what, I thought the program that had the best overall composition, both musically and choreographically, was Mai Mihara's Defia. I think even though she's been underscored a bit, I think she could stand to really clean up this season. I could see her on the top with Kaori.
She does look to be having that like 2015 Tuktamisheva renaissance to her, right? There's some sort
and the program is good. And, no offense to Marie-France, whom I adore, but like the Kaori free skate does stay kind of at one level. And the Defia, it like builds, and there's that big sort of like quote unquote Olympic moment. You can tell like the audience will totally go nuts in one part if it's going well at a world championships or something. I just feel the overall composition of that program is world class.
Mm-hmm. I obviously think Wakaba has a huge chance to make a splash this season if she can get healthy. It's just going to come down to, is she going to deliver? And
her outing here wasn't great.
But granted, she's coming back from a fracture, so we have to kind of give her that space, right? And that grace. And obviously there are certain show commitments people have to do, and being out there before perhaps they would like to be in front of the public, and everyone's got to make a living. I'm curious what will happen. I think in the early part of the season, Luna might be someone that really makes
I agree.
Strong statement. I could see Mai, Luna, Kaori, Isabeau really is kind of the big
But then to consider the Korean women, Yelim Kim comes with the right material, and Young Yu.
We did see a little bit of Yelim's at the Korea was already doing a competition where she debuted new program. It looked to be more of the same. And why are they out there? I mean, it was
more of the same in many ways.
It just didn't.
I mean, the other thing that was interesting to see here, because again, once again in Japan, we have too many good skaters, because Monica Wabe also it seems they're trying to give her a bit more personality with her programs now. Suddenly a bit more spunk in her delivery. It will be interesting. She could accidentally knock off Mai again or Wakaba.
I wonder if it's just that this is a post-Olympic season that they're taking more risk. I think obviously the pressure is off. I think the absence of the Russians from the field also is influencing this in some way, that everyone is trying to stand out more. There was more of a uniform sense before. Listen, they're not going to have to do quads this year. It's going to come down to clean skating and performance and quality. And
even some of the triple axles, I mean, let's see. Wakaba may not choose to take that risk. Definitely, maybe not in both programs. If she feels she doesn't have to.
So I think the women's field, look, I can already tell you what's going to happen on social media. All right. The Russians are going to start, but there's no technical content. It's not worth watching. Our junior skater did more jumps than they did. Meanwhile, who knows if any of their Olympians are going to be delivering. Trusova is trying a new sport every week. They've shown her doing the high jump. There was just a video of her doing curling. She did the long jump. Has she pole vaulted yet? I don't know. Zagitova's boxing. They're talking about Trusova trying new sports. Everyone there is just, she seems maybe not fully committed to letting
skills.
She's not an edge class. Okay, that
Yeah,
is
let's
not her
just say
focus
that.
right now.
Yeah, Benoit or Jubova. Yeah.
That trauma response that she had at the Olympics, I believe, was real, and maybe she's not
earned the right
allowed
to explore
herself
other options. Yeah.
fully live the dream again just yet.
Yeah.
You know, they're not the biggest culture on therapy. So I don't know if Trusova's been talking out her feelings so much.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Just acting them out, you know, on national television, international television.
People are going to say, well, they're not doing it. And then I think we're going to get to a point where we see really pretty skating with clean skating. And
I think the performance quality goes up. The beauty of the sport returns in sort of a nostalgic way. I think this will be a very popular, I think people that will tune in for the first time, even though people like at NBC think it's only interesting to talk about quads or something like that. But I think the general skating, when people just tune in at random, they just want to see something and say, oh, that's beautiful. I think we're going to get a lot more of that this season.
I think the beginning of the season will be weird and feel slow, and there'll be a lot of comments all over the map. By the second half of the season, I think we're going to see some good performances and really good skating, and that it will turn the tide. And you're going to see some new stars emerge from this. So
yeah, I'm very excited. But also quickly before we go on, also in the men, we watched Kevin Amos's new programs.
Yes.
One was like a very sexy modern number that totally worked and was great.
Yes.
And the other was, again, a bit more of the same.
Well, he wore the costume from last year, and it looked like a rehash of his greatest hits. Was the second program in the tank top, is that like a shortened version of his free skate? I really liked that program.
I loved that program. I was hoping that was his short program. Is that not correct?
I thought the other one was his short. I don't know.
It's very possible. I watched it a while ago, and now I'm already like, I just remember I liked the one in the vest.
The black tank top I really liked. The other one was like, okay, you do this.
Kevin Amos special.
You do this, right. We get it. You do it very well.
And the Kimono Fledermaus I loved.
Oh, okay. So there are two schools of thought on this.
Okay.
Some people think it's corny, right? Other people love it.
I love it.
I love it. I loved his La La Land last year. That is my favorite. Although this gives that same feeling of joy, and doing the conductor, I thought it was shticky in a good way.
Schmaltz. Yeah.
You know, I thought that Philippe Candeloro was like fun 90s schmaltz, but it kind of veered into cringe as you knew better, right?
Yeah.
This, I think it's kind of delightful.
It's charming.
It's charming. I might change my opinion on it, and I don't know that it would work with another skater. I just want to be really clear, and people will say, well, you wouldn't like this if so-and-so did it, and that's true. I think that he has a certain charisma and personality that makes this fun. At least right now, as he's got to land those quad jumps. And if he can, I think this is such a charming vehicle for him.
I agree 100%. It's crisp, it's clean, it's light, it's fun, it's joyous, it's classic. I don't know.
I mean, the short is your typical like undone tie, suspender kind of program. And even that works for me. I just like his personality in skating and the fact that he's growing in his performance.
And the fact that these performances only enhance that skill he has and does not hinder us from enjoying it, then they've worked. You know what I mean? It's almost like don't get in the way of his charisma.
You know, in the past, he's done like the buttoned up, he did a buttoned up short program. You know, the Moulin Rouge was a lot of costume up to here. And it seems like in that La La Land, they just let him have more freedom.
Moulin Rouge has like a heavy, gritty, dirty vibe to it. And that's, his is not. His is just this joyous sunshine. So
he's just like flapping about.
Yeah.
And he's doing the conductor move.
That is operetta. Fledermaus is lowbrow, by the way. It's a total lowbrow piece. So
is skating 95.
That's what I'm saying. So it works, you know. He's not pretending he's conducting like the Valkyries or something like that. Like it works.
I just think it has such charm. He's just there's something that came out in the La La Land that just is this fun and this lightness. And I wasn't sure about the Fledermaus when I heard the music. You know, you like a program so much and you find out what they're going to do next, and you're just always like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But when I saw this, I was like, okay, I'm on board. I'm ready. I'm here for the ride. I see the thought process, and it's that effervescence that they are bringing to us. So I don't know, it made me happy. And we know what, it's just like a lighter season. It was so heavy last year, I think, all around.
Yeah. It's okay to enjoy the program.
He was flapping about, and I was like, yes, okay, this is.
Yeah, it's not an emo ballad. So it's a win.
God, okay.
Yeah.
Although I have a lot of emotions, I want to do so many emo ballads. I think that this is the right vehicle for him. This is who he is, so.
Yeah, well, now, because we saw the Japanese pair here also skating too. And
you know, I'm trying to find music for my own skating, Jonathan, and it's a nightmare. Every year it's a nightmare. I have a million ideas, and then whoever I'm working, it's always a nightmare.
So I think the skaters should always pick.
Michael Siebert doesn't want me to do anything with too many feelings, okay? God's sake, no, these skaters and their feelings, entertain us. I want to be entertained, okay?
You know, okay, hashtag Team Michael.
I don't know if I'm entertaining, Jonathan, all right?
Give him the old razzle dazzle. Where did you just say that you think you're not entertaining? On the show that people tune in to watch?
I am very serious, okay?
Okay, yes. But you know what, I get that, because I would like to be like light socially, but actually my musical soul is rather heavy. So I
my skating personality is rather serious when I'm on the ice.
Yeah. Well, can you do something that's seriously beautiful?
He doesn't want to have too many feelings. I don't know. We're going through it. He wants me to find something that has a voice, and I agree. It's every year. Every year, it's like stressing to find the right piece of music. And
so
then, of course,
what's the mood you're going for?
Jonathan, I would like to have like an entertaining emo ballad, like something with edge, right? Like, you know.
Yeah, so define entertaining, because when I hear entertaining, I sort of think like a little bit more up feeling.
Right. We have a couple things that are like looking and, you know, like a little maybe jazzy or bluesy, but still a little lyrical. Like, I think I'm really like, it needs to be like a little bit in between for me. Like, I think it needs to have a little bit of edge, but be a little bit lyrical. And like, it needs to not be, there's like a happy medium that when you find the right thing, it has enough of this and enough of that. And I'll tell you privately. I have like a couple of things, and then people are going to send me stuff, and it's like, you know, people that love classical music always send you, and I'm like, I'm an adult skater. I can't skate to the whole orchestra. You know, like we need to be a solo instrument here. I'm not that powerful.
I can't skate up to that many players yet. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
You know, like people when they give you music ideas, it's funny because they often don't give you an idea for you. They give you an idea of just music that they like.
Exactly. Which we know is totally different.
It's
for a skating
totally different. Like you have to. I'm a certain bird, you know. So yeah.
I gotcha. So all right, we'll discuss.
Like someone was like, "Oh, you should do Dear Evan Hansen." I'm like, "What? Because I'm gay?" Like, you know, like just I don't know that that's me.
No, because they know sometimes you get injured, so they think you might be skating in a cast.
Rude. Okay.
Too soon. Sorry.
I've been very healthy for months now.
Okay.
And I've been improving steadily without getting injured. You know, yes.
We love that. Yeah.
We love that. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Kazuki, we talked about it.
The Japanese pair were there. Skating
and Ruichi.
Correct. Yes. And sort of a Canadian packaging, I would say.
Jonathan, I was watching this and I thought this is so Julie Marcotte.
That's what I was thinking.
I thought it was dominant. What was the name of the song? It's
something slow and sad.
It was something slow and sad, right?
It was a cover.
Wait, I thought it was this year's version. I thought it was a Julie Marcotte version of Sway and Hans, like Bridge Over Troubled Water. I thought it was a Quebecois version of that program with different music. I thought it was the same freaking thing. I'm getting it up. People are going to write in the comments anyway.
It's not. But here's what I want to say.
It's exactly the same program. It was like, come on, it was the same vibe. They were going for that version of this. And oh my God. I hope this isn't the program that Bruno said was like good, but he and Megan always used to tell me like who they thought was going to win an ice dance, and I never agreed with them.
But like Chimona, the thing that they
I love them both the most, but you know.
Yeah, they express joy on the ice. Everyone is rooting for them. There's such a good feeling. So that again, that they're doing this slow, emo, heavy mood. I want to see something joyous and light from them.
They'll never walk alone. Okay, that's what's happening here. Yes. All right.
They're in a pair. Yeah. Okay.
You knew exactly what that program was going to be before you saw it. Okay.
Yeah. 100%.
You knew it. All right.
I'm still rooting for them. I
agree with Michael Siebert and these skaters with feelings. All right. They're walking together. They're freaking skating together. They're walking together.
You think that was their choice? You'll never walk alone from Rodgers and Hammerstein? I don't think that. I think that was given to them.
I think it was your girl JM. Okay. And I think Julie, I think that she, it's not Julie, it's Julie. I think that she came up with it, Jonathan. And this time, I don't think it was her best. I think she does her best work when she's got a really headstrong female that collaborates and fights with her. I think that that's her best kind of work. In this case, it was not my favorite Julie program. I think she needs a girl like Marissa or Deanna who's really scary, who has a real point of view, and they come up with something together. You know, she and Megan butted heads all the time, but you know, their hometown glory was perfect for them. So
for them, yeah.
Right. Hey, when Eric just picked his music by himself and worked with Julie, no one was liking their programs last season.
They skated something to something where the words kept repeating, falling. Right.
And we know how
like
much
a hypnosis.
We know how much you enjoyed KMT's material. So I need that.
Yeah, I think it's clear where I stand.
You know, KMT is clearly scary, but doesn't like lead with her scariness. She tries to mute it because she's Canadian, right? If she, yeah.
It's very different. It's cultural.
It's cultural. They stab you in the back, not in the front in Canada.
That's right. How polite.
Yeah, and Marissa, they stab you in the front. Okay, that's what
you see them coming. Yeah, okay.
Yes. Megan bulldozes you, right? I don't know. Someone was describing Megan and they're like, well, she'd be like from the south of Canada. They were trying to describe like where they're from. They're like, she's different, you know. That's what we like about her. You know,
yeah. Closer to the border. Yeah.
People are going to want us to talk about the fact that Nathan and Shoma did a duet. And you know what? Like most of these shows that are thrown together in 5 minutes, I thought that they were both skating on the ice at the same time and that the mission was playing. That's what I thought about that.
And then my favorite is when they're like, your turn. And then Shoma is like, now it's your turn. No. But another example of Shoma's excellent edges.
Yes.
Yeah, that side by side.
So the Alyssa Liu program.
Which I have to be honest, I chose not to watch.
You know what? She's coming into her own personality-wise, which is definitely very different than the material that was given to her on the ice.
Okay.
I think she's very interesting. I think that she's like, did you ever have a rebellious moment as a teen? Like, did you ever like go into Hot Topic or watch My So-Called Life or any of that?
No, I get the impulse.
That's Alyssa Liu right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, if skaters went to school, she'd be like 5 minutes from reading Catcher in the Rye and feeling like, okay, like that. Yeah. Someone should give her that book. Okay. She will have all the feels. Okay. That is what is happening on the ice. She does not have Shoma's edges, but you know what? She has some real energy.
There's something to say. Yeah.
Yes.
She wants to perform this right now.
She is like the Morgan Hurd of figure skating, but without the refinement.
Okay. Or the glasses.
She should.
I knew something about gymnastics.
I'm impressed. I am impressed.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, you brought up the solo dance before. So let's talk about my girl, Brooke Tufts, who won in Lake Placid.
Now, am I like correctly understanding this, that there were two different solo dance events, or were those just two different programs within the same event?
It's two different programs. Just like regular ice dance, you do a rhythm dance and you do a free dance. And for the rhythm dance, you do, even though there's no pattern in ice dance this year, solo dance still has a pattern, and they all do the female portion of the Midnight Blues, whether or not they are female. So one of Brooke's main competitors is Lucas Appel, who trains with Marina Zueva, and he also will do the female steps to the Midnight Blues. It's just so that uniforms, so that they're judging everyone.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And men, women, everyone competes in the same discipline, in the same event. And it's actually really interesting to watch the different interpretations of this. And there's another skater from Marina, Adrienne Carhart, who's one of the top, and she has like 3 siblings who figure skate. I mean, what does that dad do for a living? I need to know. Okay, like
cry. Yeah.
And they're all paying Marina Zueva's prices. Expertise, well worth every cent.
Yeah.
Worth every cent. Not cheap. Okay.
It costs a lot of sense. Yeah.
And then yeah, but it's a really interesting field, and it's a very growing discipline. And
this was my first foray into sort of watching it like this. And I have to say, my fear, Dave, was as much as I've always said I wanted this, that I would somehow find it cheesy or not fulfilling. And that was not the case at all. I was riveted by watching the solo version of the pattern. And Brooke did like this giant flamenco number. And it felt both like solo ice dancing and the finest moments of females or ladies, women's, whatever the hell it is.
She basically has all of the power of Hubble and Donahue. And because they don't have a partner to drag them around, they have like really developed skating skills. And she's 5'6", and she's like too tall and too powerful to like find an appropriate partner. Has to be like a Zach Donahue at this point. He has to be of a certain height and a certain just like power to match her.
Girth. Yeah.
She's stronger. Yeah. She is stronger than most people will say that in most of the female ice dancers on the world podium is what they're basically is happening right now. So
it was thrilling.
Yeah. So,
I loved it. Yeah. I was all in.
Listen.
And yes, I want to see Satoko compete this event.
Okay. Well, they're trying to have a solo ice dance event, like internationally, the way that they have Synchro Worlds or they have an adult international event. They are pushing to have a solo dance international event. It's something that's being discussed, and Sean Redstadt would be the one to make that happen. He's not just the one monitoring Diana Davis. He would make the solo dance event happen.
When he's not monitoring Diana Davis.
He also monitored Brooke Tufts that day. So they are, yes. So he was very impressed with her. So
same.
Well, yes. And she skates to Beyonce and the rhythm dance. And I said, did Igor choreograph this? You know, there were some moments where Igor let her come up with the arms, but
okay.
You know, she tried to water down her step sequence one day before I was going to nationals when they were just learning. Igor puts in a lot of complicated stuff, and Brooke was like struggling through it. So she took a couple of things out, and that Kristen Frazier was like, Brooke, that's not how you're going to win nationals if you're taking out the steps in March.
Was she right?
She put those steps back in there.
See? Tough love.
I would do it too. I never fight with Kristen. Always fight with Igor. Never Kristen.
Okay. Maybe that's how their dynamic is also.
Yeah, if Igor wants to live, you know, that's
okay.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, yeah. What did you think of Peyton Bai's rendition of Riverdance?
They have some very nice moves. I mean, in general, even though it is not done so much, I don't know that I would do it. I don't know that I would take that angle.
And not in the very literal black pants. Okay.
And I mean, even when Born and Kratz first brought it out, I thought, this is brilliant. Why hasn't this been done before? And even when it was sort of innovative, It never quite works for me on the ice. It did with Jason, but I mean in dance.
For every Jason Brown river dance, there's a Rika Hongo, okay? And, okay, I think that this team is trying to be charming, and they have a very nice quality and relationship with each other.
The lifts are very lovely, yeah.
But in the second half of the program, and I know it's early in the season, this program needs to build and have power so that people want to come out of their seats. And I felt like I was wanting to like skate faster because this
be clapping the beat with them. Yeah,
the beat, and it builds and it demands power. And if you don't live up to it, it can fall flat. So they really have to work on their stamina and their power. That's just the music. That's, and that doesn't mean that they can't do it. It just means from now until when they compete, nationals, they need to really work on that speed in the second half, because it is that kind of piece of music where you're like, I mean, remember Jason was just like, da, 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 like
it just kept getting bigger and bigger. Like the roof came off that place. Yeah. And
then when he didn't do that at the Olympics, it was a little bit of a mess. It's one of those pieces where it's like do or die, right?
Right.
So, well, yeah. Okay, let's talk about the Glacier competition. So,
yes,
this was interesting. First of all, the time of watching something live in California when the ladies are so late at night, and I am an old man, and I'm like falling asleep trying to like watch the Claire Seos of the world. And anyway, what did you make of this event? Besides the fact that our women are not the strongest right now.
I was going to say, I was thankful we also had the ice to watch. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
What gave me so much faith in one realm failed to do so in another. You're right about the packaging. I think it has become a bit toddlers and tiaras, kind of glitz pageanty that detracts. And I see people I empathize with. It's got to be tough for some of these middling competitors to know, are we staying in? And if so, what are the reasons? I don't know what some of the reasons are for some people, but I don't see that part of their staying in is going to involve a step forward, is how I will word that.
I wanted to go Tyra Banks on Hannah Harrell. I see a lot of potential and talent, and with that TBD spot for Skate America Open, I think Hannah has all of the talent to make a splash, but it didn't look like she was as trained as she could have been, especially in the free during the second half.
The squirrely landings on everything. And unfortunately, she had that breakout at Nationals however many years ago in Detroit, I think it was. But since then, it's always been those landings. So unfortunately, I sort of expect that now.
Listen, Lindsay and Isabeau are both known for finishing their rotations with the jumps on the ice. Hannah Harrell is not. She is the opposite of that. She is like the Tanya Harding of.
And you don't need the replay. It's not because they relooked at it that we can tell. Yeah.
She needs to train like hell, and I would give her the Skate America, because I don't see a lot of skaters who have performed yet this summer at that level, right? I would pencil her in because I think that she could grow and has enough experience, but she needs to believe in herself, and she needs to really train and work super, super hard. But I think we saw with Misha, Kazuki Tomono first went to the Worlds in 2018, that he wasn't on the world stage for about 3 years was kind of an afterthought, and he kind of had a renaissance last season, and now he's growing through that. If Misha can motivate Hannah in the same way, I think we would send all of our children to Misha, but I think this would be really great if he could motivate her in the same manner, because I think that she has that kind of potential to maybe not be a world medalist, but to do something in the US, and she has she doesn't necessarily have the skating skills, but she's got this raw power that could really happen. I mean, she should have won the competition.
Yeah.
There's just, but Sonia Hilmer did win, And she's a really interesting skater. You were asking me who she was. A bunch of people, haven't really seen Sonia skate before. I saw her last year in person at Cranberry. Now there's the Cranberry Cup and the Cranberry Open. She competed at like 11 in the morning when the top skaters were, at night. And she skated really well last year. She does her own choreography. She makes her own costumes. She jumped in both directions on the Sal. I believe she used to work with Rohit Ward, and he can jump in both directions. She's just kind of like that quirky girl. Her program is like too creepy for some people, but what do you think of it?
Oh, I didn't find it creepy.
Yeah.
I found it very attention grabbing because it was kind of like creepy Victorian doll beginning or whatever. Yeah. I mean, but there's something fascinating. You're drawn to her. She pulls you in immediately, even though we may not see her on the world stage, but there was something so unique about what she was doing and so committed what she was doing that it held my attention much more so than some of the quote unquote more technically competitive programs we were seeing.
There's an old school vibe to her. So she's 23, which is ancient in skating right now. Because right now, if you don't have your triples, you move to pairs or quit by a certain age. So I'm very impressed. She has more of a skating ability than a lot of the other ladies we saw there. She has real jumping legs when she does jump, even though she's not doing triples. Although I think she looks like she could do a triple toe, at least, I would think. But she didn't do one here. There is a real talent. I like her. She's one of those that I want to watch her. There's just something.
She has a point of view. And again, I think that's also because a 23-year-old might have a different perspective or relationship with the sport than one who is 15 or 16. I just find there was perspective to her skating and she wanted to do it and she wanted to do this interesting thing for the audience. And that was a different feeling than nervous competitors.
So back in the day, they used to call Julie Lynn Holmes like an imitation of Peggy Fleming. They had the same kind of packaging. I see that with Claire Seo and Karen Chen, where the packaging and everything is very, very similar, down to the Lisa McKinnon dresses and the kind of music they would. I do like Claire. I just want a little more individuality to know who she is rather than just. But Tammy seems very controlled as a person, right? I want a little more oddball to come out.
Well, which is why a little bit. When you're talking about picking music and you don't want to pick music with emotions, I feel like a lot of these skaters at an early age are not included in their process in some ways. And I think there just becomes an inherent disconnect when you're being told what you're skating to because you don't have the emotional connection to it, or when you're being told what to wear because it follows a formula that they think gets you somewhere. Whereas I think it's those that break the formula by being uniquely themselves that ultimately give a better performance, that have confidence in their jumping, that become more interesting to the fans are those that are more individualistic, not following a formula, right? Even the top competitors that...
Convince me that Shelby Lyons and Sydney Vogel were two different people.
I mean, you can't. They're both from Alaska. No,
what I mean is, remember in '98, they both had blue Lauren Sheehan dresses with the same haircut with the Cassie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or in some of the earlier groups at nationals, for instance, we have seen everyone in the same Brad Griffey's dress, same music, same layout, same da-da-da. And it's just like...
Colorado has been giving us the most for so many years. They just... such individuality coming out of the world.
Well, that's the thing. You want a concentrated training area because that can yield some things, but instead it's sort of melded everyone into a factory of the same thing. I don't know. It doesn't seem to. Whereas again, as we will always say about Montreal, they became a hub and helped people bring out their individual qualities, not just reassign them to what they had in the formula.
But do Cowrie and Marie France now have the same hair?
That was a surprise, the hair. I had no idea that was coming.
I don't know.
Would you want to emulate after spending some time with her?
Jonathan, yes. Okay.
Yeah, same.
Whatever she wants. Okay. I felt like Gogolev was this version, was like Nathan without the charisma, like Diet Coke of Nathan with, but he has like a shirt that's too big for him where it looks like he's like the sleeves. You ever like let your sleeves go over your wrists and you kind of like hold it? But that's what was happening.
Dave, as if with my long ass arms I could ever do it, I wish.
I always feel like I have long ass arms. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, he's really talented. I just, even like the shirt coming up and the spin was so Nathan. Just, he doesn't have the same.
But he did seem a little more settled in maybe how he's feeling health-wise. Like I was a little nervous for him when he was competing those couple of times last year because I knew he was a little bit fragile still. And I didn't sense the fragility in his skating here, and 2 nice quads on the short. So
I think Michael Slipchuk is like breathing a sigh of relief that that Canada has a guy who looks to be,
that this will still happen in some way, I think. For a second, we didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah.
And I thought Tomoki looks more invigorated. He has never been a summer competition skater. He doesn't even show up until nationals, and yet he was way more together here. I wonder
if the world, like, seeing what happened to Camden sort of reignited a flame in those people that were all in the same category, because that could have been Tomoki's season. I think Tomoki, I mean, I prefer Camden's overall programs and packaging, but Tomoki has the talent to have also had, you know, a big breakout season like that. And I wonder if it made some people realize what's really possible for them.
Well, Tomoki had been kind of the up-and-comer before Camden was the up-and-comer. And then they both kind of were middling for a while.
Yeah.
It does look like Tomoki got serious and seems to be seizing the moment. And yeah, I don't know. He looked better here.
And the programs are better.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the programs where for a while, right after he had that good nationals where he was 4th and then went on to 4 continents and did well. And then it kind of petered off with the content and the consistency. And now there's nice, respectable content happening, and he seemed really solid in what he was offering.
I don't know. I'm excited for these people that are making a stretch. You know, Gracie Gold is going to compete this year, and she's been training. I don't know. She was looking good earlier in the summer. She was also looking good last summer. I don't know, but I'm curious to see what happens there. If she's sticking around, she must have a fire.
And Star Andrews, I guess, also sticking around.
The Star Andrews just had a really serious heart surgery. So
what? I had no idea.
So for her to come back, I was really surprised that she skated. She's
did she talk about it? Heart surgery. Oh my gosh.
She had a real problem. Remember last year she like withdrew from the 2nd Grand Prix and they were really quiet. No one knew if she had COVID or something. And was it tachycardia? Whatever it was. Yeah, I'm sure people will leave in the comments. But she had a quite serious health situation.
God.
So I was a little bit surprised that she, you know, competed so soon. And yeah.
Wow. Then very admirably so, now that I understand.
Yeah. So, but you know, we haven't heard a lot. I think a lot of people were, you know, confused. So
yeah.
I don't know, but I'm excited for the upcoming weeks, Jonathan. We have Philadelphia coming, and there's going to be a lot of the Junior Grand Prix, and people going for the spots at Skate America are going to start competing in the next couple of weeks. And there's going to be a lot happening. We saw Madison Hubble coaching this week in Lake Placid, looking very Madison Hubble-esque. I don't know. She's the personality that we needed in coaching. I think there's like a lot happening. I think a lot will start to happen.
Well, and this is exciting because now each week we're just like fed another like couple hints at sneak peeks at programs.
Listen, when we get to the Junior Grand Prix, I will tell you all about the personalities at Hackensack. Okay.
Okay.
And it's not the mothers of the female skaters that have the big rivalries. It's like the mothers of the boys. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
If one of the boys, the manager of the ice house, like has a real soft spot for one of the boys who's going to be on the Junior Grand Prix, and the mother of one of the other skaters will be like, well, are you going to post my son?
Got it.
Listen,
yikes.
that's the kind of intensity that's pushing them both forward. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm here for it.
Yeah, Next week in therapy. Yeah.
I like both of the boys. I don't know the mothers, so that's another story. But I mean, I don't know them well, but that's
Okay.
Listen, any mother in Hackensack is
In it to win it. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Also, people for years asked me to make a gymnastics channel. So I have done this for shits and giggles and a little fun. So
I love that.
Coming of it.
I liked it on Facebook.
Thank you. I will put
Now
the
I get
links to the
updates.
Facebook, the Instagram, and the YouTube in the description box so that you can like it. And please do. And I'm posting.
What's it called?
Gymnastics ROV. It's like an old school term for risk, originality, and virtuosity, Jonathan.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yes, and it was an old school term for gymnastics back in the day. So it's a little homage, if you will.
How clever.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, hold an edge and look sexy, everyone. Bye.
Bye.